afternoon, everyone, and very excited to be here in this conference with you from Avatar, The Power of I this year. It's been amazing to see how Avatar has grown and scaled as an organization, building sustainable talent management strategies for inclusion at workplace. And I'm very excited to be part of this second virtual edition, The Power of I, where we are here to talk about how each one of us can unleash to be a core strength of our organizations. The power of individuals that really enables us to run and actually build our organizations. Hi, everyone. This is Prati Mathur, and I lead the HR organization for Pegasystems here in India. And as part of this discussion today, I will be walking you through some of my own personal journeys, learnings, experiences as we unleash the power of I. I want to kind of start with a concept of anti-fragility and how it enables us to be stronger, more so because in these unprecedented times, all of us have been juggling through different situations, different ways of looking and managing our personal selves, our families, our loved ones, our colleagues, and our teams at work. So, based on the famous book author, Nassim Taleb, what is anti-fragility? According to the author, and I think very true to most of some of the phenomena that we experience on a day-to-day basis is some things really benefit from a shock and they thrive and they actually grow when they're exposed to volatility, disorder, randomness, and sometimes we call them stressors, right? So I think it's very exciting for us to kind of learn what is anti-fragility. For me, it was a great learning to, coin this as a term and explain it back to you. And what I thought was it was also important for us to understand how does it differ from being fragile or being robust or resilient. So let's take an example here. When you are exposed to stress, or some kind of a shock or volatility or a disorder in your life and you disintegrate, that's when you're fragile. You have a glassware in an Amazon box, and by the time it gets delivered to you, it's broken, it's fragile, right? Robust, on the other hand, is when you expose it to some kind of a condition, it goes back in its current shape and form. I can think of a rubber band or an elastic piece of equipment where you stretch it and then it goes back to its original shape and form. Anti-fragile is very different and beyond resilience and robustness. While the resilient resists the shock and stays the same, in terms of being an anti-fragile person or an individual, you tend to be stronger than your original version. That is something I think the pandemic has taught us very beautifully, both in personal as well our professional lives. So I think as a leader, as an individual, if you are looking to succeed at work, at home, or anything that you have your mind on, it is really important to bring in that aspect and that open mindset of being able to not only bear some kind of a randomness, stress, or a disorder, but how do you condition your mind so that you emerge even stronger? Going away from the concepts, let's talk about real world, real life. Let me share a story of mine with you. This is about a story of failure and not success. So when I was building my career and I got promoted as a people manager, it was a happy moment. It was also a very overwhelming moment for me. And just like new managers, I was busy trying to prove myself in terms of why I earned the promotion as against the other people in the organization. And I was trying to kind of deliver things faster and better. And guess what? I was not spending enough time to understand and get the best out of my team, but trying to put myself on my team. And in the process, I was not building strong relationships. I was not being productive. In fact, I was counterproductive and was labeled, in terms of not being able to get the best out of the team. So I think once I went through that journey, I realized that there are so many things that happen in life that can be very similar to what we discussed as a concept. In this time of failure, it was good for me to kind of reflect on my behavior. And I realized that I could have leveraged the power of continuous feedback. I could have been more sensible about being a good listener and spending more time in strengthening my relationships rather than proving one upmanship. And most importantly, how did I turn this around? Right? So when I got this feedback, I kind of, like I said, took it on and moved on to kind of build my emotional quotient. My first reaction was disbelief, like anybody would be. But the second reaction was to kind of take the feedback, assimilate it, and move on with it. I would say to this audience, in all honesty, that if I was not given that feedback in my stomach, I wouldn't have been where I am as a leader, where I enjoy the support, trust, and engagement of my team. Sometimes it's failures in life, sometimes it's harsh things that happen to you, which are unbelievable, unprecedented, that make a better version of you. Moving on from stories to the next agenda item on our list here is about being proactive and working on your foresights and how critical it is as a leader. I have seen people working hard and not work smart. And let me tell you, friends, busy is not always equal to being productive, right? And so I've seen people kind of toiling, burning the midnight oil, and trying to make the most out of the situation, being a great problem solver. And let's remember, every situation that we are in is not a proactive situation. So if we were to look at it in a more balanced way, there are times when we are hit by a situation that was not forecasted or not in our minds. Let's talk about the COVID 19 situation, right? None of us could have imagined that we will be in the middle of a pandemic for almost 18 years unless it hit us, right? So I'm not saying that every situation that you're going to experience, you will be able to build proactiveness, insightfulness. But at the same time, as a leader, it is super critical for us to start thinking ahead. Because when we are thinking ahead, we are more focused. We have a structure to our approach. We can be very creative with the resources at hand, be it people, be it money, be it tools and technologies, because we have the time to take a step back and not think the obvious and challenge the status quo. Whereas when we are in a reaction time, we're always trying to close something. We are in a hush. We're always running behind and not ahead of the game. And hence, some of the things that have come out to be strength in terms of what we do and how we do is the proactiveness and the insightfulness that we gain out of it by experimenting and by challenging ourselves. From a professional perspective, I urge my colleagues to follow and my team the 80-20 rule, right? Where we are trying to do runtime activities 80% because they are very important and core to our job, but it is equally important to segregate yourself for the other 20%, which is going to be innovative, creative, open minded, and of course, bringing in a lot of collaboration across teams and building your networks. So I would probably leave you with this very interesting video, which actually summarizes this thought for all of us here.
The difference between being busy and being productive. Being busy involves frantic work, while being productive is more focused. Being busy prioritizes the short term, while productivity is all about long-term priorities. Being busy is about working harder, while being productive is about working smarter. When you're busy, you're fueled by perfectionism, but when you're productive, you're fueled by purpose. Being busy means being good at everything, while being productive is about being great at a few things. Busyness is all about multitasking and shallow work. while being productive is about sticking to a single task and engaging in deep work. Being busy is rushed, while being productive is relaxed. You can't always avoid being busy. Life happens. Sometimes the urgent crowds out the important. But when we focus on the things that matter, we are more likely to be productive rather than busy.
I hope you enjoyed the small video break. And I really believe that as we think through some of the key components and elements of being really effective and successful, it is also important for us to be mindful and be realistic in our optimism and how that is helping us in challenging times. You know what? My favorite quote is "Life begins at the comfort zone" by Neil Donald Walsh, where he's trying to say is that you cannot spell challenge without change, right? You really need to disrupt things to be able to manage the next phase of things that are coming your way. And I think, the pandemic is a great example, both from a personal effectiveness and a managerial effectiveness. I remember that when we started on this journey in March 2020, I guess most of us in India, we were all scrambling to respond. We were in back to back meetings day and night with both domestic, local, global teams, and we were trying to make sure everybody is getting the right support to get online. Once we responded, we were in the phase of recovery, where we were trying to ensure that not only are people online, but they are getting all the tools, communication support, collaboration tools to make life easy, and also making sure that the safety and security of our employees is of paramount. And come 2021, when we were all hit by the second wave, I think our focus moved from not just taking care of the technology and the communication aspects of it, but the well being and safety of our employees and their loved ones. Having said that, I think we've all kind of had our own learnings and our share of successes and failures. And with that, we've realized that apart from the whole episode of seeing people sick and recovering, there's also been a silver line. We've stopped commuting long hours, and we've been able to spend more time with our family members. I am a mother of a college student, so my daughter was graduating in the pandemic and moving to her first year of college. And while I was working from home, I think I would have never imagined to be spending so much quality time with her before she moved to college in a different city, in a different country. Similarly, we realized that we've been able to energize ourselves. At least I have been able to experiment by kind of starting from scrambling where my desk, where my chair, what my background is going to be, to now having a routine life where I know that I will have to have a day filled with right breaks at the right time to take care of myself and my loved ones. And thanks to all the support that I get from my team, of course. From a professional perspective, some of the learnings have been truly very interesting when we talk about realistic optimism. So when we all started on these journeys of WebEx calls, Zoom calls, and collaboration spaces online where people were in back-to-back meetings, we did some quick surveys and feedback sessions with our employees. And we realized that we had elongated the day for almost 70% of our employees by 2 to 3 hours in the name of productivity. And once we knew that our employees were productive, we decided that we should be able to control these meeting timings and give some time back for their mental, physical, and spiritual well being. And that's when we created a Friday space, right? which is a no meeting day or a no big meeting day, so that people can actually take some time off the back to back Zoom calls, web calls, virtual events, and make sure they're able to assimilate, plan, and drive the rest of the week for themselves. So, with everything which is not, very positive, there's always a silver lining. And that's what is captured in these images, that too much of everything is bad, but there's always a silver lining. And hence, it's really critical that as people who are infragile, people who are really strong in terms of being open minded, how do we really use the optimism, the realistic positivity in our lives to move forward as against getting dragged with the negatives? I think all of us have been experimenting. I'll be very honest with you. So, if you ask me that I have a mantra of managing apprehensions, confusions in the wake of crisis and failure, probably not. But I think in these times, we've all leveraged the power of our teams, the power of being able to experiment, fail, succeed, and then move on to the next one, right? And I think one of my personal experiences has been frequent communication. And when you are in a situation which is full of confusion, chaos, and people are not sure what's going to happen the next day, the next week, the next month, it is really critical that we build that clarity, we build that expectation with our team members as well as people at home so that they can support us when we need them the most. What I have also been practicing is the power of effective listening. And in fact, at Pega, what we're trying to drive is a culture of empathy and flexibility. And a lot of times we talk about leaders using empathy and flexibility. But I think what we are propagating here is building a culture of empathy and flexibility where every employee in the organization practices that and is given training, is given opportunity to exercise that. I think what I also learned as someone who has worked across different continents, different geographies, is in the time of confusion and crisis, it is okay to be not okay. And it is okay to share that you're not feeling well, or you're feeling burnt out, or you're going through something in life and you need a pause, you need a break to fix it. And that's what I coach all my team members is it's okay to be not okay. And sometimes as a leader, you need to raise your hand and say, hey, today I'm having a bad day, guys, and I need a break. Or, hey, I've been in back-to-back sessions and I'm feeling burnt out. So how about me taking a break in between the week so that you guys can run the show? I think presenting that vulnerability, I think presenting your authentic self goes a long way in terms of building a culture of empathy and flexibility, which really helps you navigate when the times are confusing in the wake of crisis and failure. And last but not the least, one needs to walk the talk. I'm sharing some real life experiences here. I know we have all have loads and loads of getting on the digital screen, whether it's virtual check-ins, whether it is virtual breakfasts, dinner, your favorite drink, but my favorite that I wanted to share with all of you is a fortnightly, weekly enablement workshop where we pick up a topic which is not related to our daily day-to-day jobs or go-dos, and we are trying to enhance our own learnability and our ability to be more well equipped and reflect on what are the things that can really help us move through this state of confusion, crisis, whatever you may call it. The other one, I'm sharing it on the screen, right? In terms of how one can do simple things like a fun theme on your stand-up team meeting, in terms of congratulating your team member on a fabulous job done, work anniversary or a birthday. It goes a long way. And since I got a lot of kudos on this, both internally and externally, I thought I'll take this opportunity to share this personal team picture with all of you. To summarize, I think dealing with this kind of a situation and emerging as a leader needs a lot of thoughtfulness. Every team member, whether it is at home or at work, plays a very, very critical role in bringing and creating an engaging and a supporting work or home environment. And like we discussed, the pillars of flexibility and empathy are super critical as we navigate through these times of chaos and confusion. But I also want to share with you that it takes proactiveness and insightfulness as a leader to start thinking about what can you do next? How do you equip your teams? Yes, we've all engaged on web tools, web cameras, collaboration spaces. But if you were to hear some of the leaders in the industry, like Josh Person, we're moving into a touchless economy. We are moving into spaces where people will be working in a hybrid work environment, right? Where commuting will be less and people will be using more of virtual reality as well as AI to be experiencing, travel. I mean, I already heard the success of using virtual reality for going to a workout and being healthy and fitness. So, how are we thinking proactively as we enable this world and start thinking with realistic optimism? So, with these thoughts, I want to kind of close my conversation and open to any questions, any suggestions. And once again, I want to thank each one of you for being such an audience. Please stay safe and healthy. Thank you. Thank you, Avtar, and thank you, team.
Hi, all. Good evening. Thank you very much for the warm introduction. I'm very happy to be here at Avatar's second edition of the Power of I conference. I am Madhavi Lata. I'm working as Associate Vice President in MNC Bank. And apart from that, I'm a National Paralympic Swimming Champion and Founder President of Wheelchair Basketball Federation of India. Many times when people interview me, they will ask many questions about how I practice swimming, when did I start. Their expectation was like I might have started in my childhood like that. So you also might be thinking like that. So I want to give a brief introduction about me. I am from a remote village in Telangana, present Telangana state. My father at that time, he was working as a school headmaster, and he has four girls and one boy. My mother is a housemaker, and I'm the youngest person. So at the age of seventh month, I was affected by polio. So because they were in a rural area, they didn't have any idea about polio vaccination. Uh, so I was affected by polio, and it was a massive attack. Doctors told that it's a miracle how she is alive after that type of massive attack. So that attack left me paralyzed below my shoulders, entire body. You can imagine, almost it is in 1970s, in villages, giving importance for girls' education, how it was, and that too a girl with severe disability. But luckily, my parents are are having very good progressive thinking. They thought that girls must be educated, and they never differentiated. Actually, they showed more love and affection towards me. In the absence of so many facilities right now, what we are having, they brought me up, no wheelchair, nothing. They used to carry me in their hands. They used to take me to school also like that, carrying in their arms. And up to 10th standard, I could go to school. I was a bright student, always topper. But after 10th standard, I could not attend college. I could not go to college because there was no disabled friendly infrastructure facilities. So whenever they told that authorities, sorry, we could not provide any accommodations for you, we kept silent and we came back. We tried for alternatives. That is, what is the other alternative? Appearing privately. So I took mathematics. It's my favorite subject, and without having any proper tutors or anything, I appeared for BA mathematics. I prepared on my own with the support of my friends' notes and other cousins' help like that. I completed my graduation, and you know that for a person with a disability, how difficult it is to get job. Even now, present situation also, many people are facing challenges. So finally, after some struggles, I ended up in a public sector bank. I worked there for almost 15 years. I worked at various places. Only I faced at the time of getting job. Okay, at the time of promotion, also first time, I had some challenges there because you can understand that people think that a person with a disability, whether they can take up higher roles, senior roles or not. So though my performance reports were excellent, everything first time after completing my after getting through that written test in the interview, that senior official thought that this girl is too ambitious. She wants to become an officer, but she doesn't know the challenges like that. That's why I didn't get promotion in spite of having excellent track record and written test marks and performance in interview. So later again, I tried next time. That at that time, the wonderful support from my family and even my manager, they told me, no, no, don't give up. You should try. So next time, whenever I was preparing for that exam, I used to have like a whether again similar type of situation I might face like that, but second time also same official was there, but this time I got my promotion, and after that next level, it was like a cakewalk. By the time they realized that disability won't stop a person to perform well, uh, so then after that I got a chance to be a part of MNC Bank here in Chennai. I shifted from my native state from Telangana to Chennai. Many people objected for that. Why you are going leaving government job like that? But my parents supported me. I wanted to do some adventures, so in that way, I ended up coming here in Chennai. But after coming here, I faced some severe health complications because I'm like a very much career oriented person. So always sitting, working, it impacted my spine a lot. So due to severe spine compression, you can see the doctor report there. A doctor told like my lifespan would be only 1 year in the absence of spinal surgery because my one lung fully covered, another lung partially. So after seeing that situation, when doctor told about spinal surgery, when we checked with them, he told success chances were minimal. So we didn't want to go for surgery and we tried alternatives. In that process, I went to a physiotherapist. Fortunately, he suggested hydrotherapy. At the age of 37, you can see the date here also. At the age of 37 years in 2007, I entered into a swimming pool just for therapy purpose. So then after that, lot of struggles again. Coach also, when I wanted to after improving my health condition, no, when I wanted to learn swimming, coach was not ready to teach me because he didn't have any idea. So again, there also like how my education, how it happened. In the similar way, I learned swimming on my own with the support of floater. However, of course, there are like a coach and lifeguard are there. It's a secured environment. At least in case of drowning, somebody was there to support. And later, I became a national Paralympic swimming champion in 2011 at the age of 40 years. So when I think about all these things now, it looks like in a cinematic way. How in cinema we will see, no, like some twist suddenly it happens. It's like one of the very pleasant turn in my life. And later, because I became a sports person at the latter part of my life. I didn't think about me alone. I always started thinking about my fellow persons with disabilities, how we can support them. Because I could not play from my childhood, right? Because we didn't have any idea about all these adaptive sports, and we don't know anything. Even for education itself, I struggle, right? So that's why we didn't try any of these things at that time. So you can see here in 2012, we hosted a national championship in Chennai. It was like we started the swimming association in Tamil Nadu first time, and then in the first year itself, we hosted this national championship. Around 350 para swimmers from across the country they came here. The generally we will go step by step, right? But in the first year itself, we hosted national championship because we wanted to create more awareness. I feel like whatever challenges persons with disabilities are facing, it is because of the most important reason is lack of awareness. Many people don't know many things that these persons with disabilities can do. So that is why there are no outside, if we go, no accessibility, no facilities. So then after that also, Lakshmi, could you please move on? So we started doing so many activities and promoted more than 300, introduced swimming to more than 300 persons with disabilities in Tamil Nadu. And later I came to know about this wheelchair basketball through one foreign NGO. And with their support, we started organizing this wheelchair basketball sport related training programs. The main difference between swimming and wheelchair basketball, what I observed, it is a team game. So you all know that we are all working in corporates, and you know that the team spirit, how important it is. These type of things we will arrange training programs in offices. But here in the playground, sitting in a court, after along with playing with our other players, we can learn many lessons which will be very, very helpful in our personal life as well as corporate life. So we organized so many programs, and with regard wheelchair basketball, we introduced first time in India. Many first time things we did. Like you have seen in the previous slide, that boys first time under 23 men's team, they went for world championship qualifiers. We sent our girls also for international training program. Many of those girls first time in their life they went to abroad, and till that time their families, they all friends, neighbors, everybody was looking at them with the sympathetic looks. After that they became like heroes and heroines in their local areas. It was an amazing experience for all of them. I am seeing that right now, them all of them as leaders. They are slowly growing as leaders in their respective societies. Later, could you please move on next slide? We won first time because this sport is new for India and we started initially, so many first times. So this first time our men and women teams won medal, bronze medal at the Bali International Tournament. That is the first international medal for India with regard to wheelchair basketball. So how we are able to do all these things? Many of the corporates, my corporate friends, like when no, when we are starting these type of things which were not there earlier, initial days, definitely we need to go with our contacts. Many of my friends from different corporates helped in arranging these type of programs, even educational institutions. So because of that, we could take our players for international tournaments. My dream is like to see our team one day in Paralympics. Right now, Tokyo Paralympics are happening, right? So our dream is to see our wheelchair basketball team one day in Paralympics at Paralympics level. So then we faced so many challenges, but we continued our efforts. Now we have more than 700 players across the country, and we reached around 24 states. So you can see this latest sixth national championship. We have more number of participants there across the country, 550 people, including coaches, all other escorts like that came for this sixth national, which was held at Mohali. So after that, you all know this COVID started, pandemic started. From there onwards, many of the programs, and even here we could take our team for Paralympic qualifiers. But no, first timers, they didn't have that much practice, and also that wheelchairs also very expensive, high performance sports wheelchairs. At least they are able to go to qualifiers, Paralympics qualifiers, and they are able to learn many things from other teams. So that was the last international tournament participation pre-COVID time. Next, Lakshmi. So after that, when this COVID started, right, we didn't take much time. Actually, recently also I wrote an article on volunteering, how it will benefit us. Really, the after coming out, whatever I learned in this from education or from corporate life, more than that, frankly, I'm telling you all, I learned many things while doing volunteering for all these activities. Because if we are at the office, we will do only the particular where our area of expertise, only we will work in that area. And for each expertise, one department will be there, everybody will do. But once we come into this volunteering, here no money, no facilities, no resources, everything we need to do. So that is why I tried in many areas, and then I realized my potential. So volunteering gave me so many such opportunities, and also when pandemic came, no, I didn't get that much disturbed, because when we organized many events last time, surprises, bitter surprises for us. So every time somehow we managed it. So with that experience, when this pandemic started, I didn't get disturbed that much, and immediately we jumped into action, and we arranged many programs virtually for our players. Not only that, we checked with them how they are. We through our corporate volunteers, we called them, find out what are their challenges, and after that we supported them also, either transferring money through our well-wisher support, or otherwise local areas. Suppose if our friends are there, they went and gave to them in person vegetables, groceries, medicines, whatever they want, they gave. So we did so many things during that. We never stopped. So we conducted, next slide, please. Next, we conducted a national, virtual national championship like that. There it is. The name is virtually unstoppable. So everybody told that you people are really unstoppable. Nothing is stopping you all. So we, and another very important thing is, please next slide. You can see many of other events we are organizing, fit minds, because that is the need of the hour, right? Because people are not able to meet friends, others. So fit minds to have peaceful mind, and so many other programs. Please, could you please move on? Slides. Yeah, like this, so many programs we have been arranging for our persons with disabilities. Next slide, please. And just to say, this is one of the very good programs. This is just to listen. So nobody is going to judge them. So then how people are opening up their thoughts. It's a very wonderful program. One of our corporate colleague, she is moderating for this program, just say. So without judgment, we will listen to them, that other person. Next, please. So living beyond barriers, this program right now we are conducting from August 14th to December 4th. We have 16 sessions on various topics like career guidance, peer mentorship, self-advocacy, sports, health, different assistive technologies. So every Saturday we are conducting this program, and we are receiving very good feedback about this program. And we are organizing in a very, very inclusive manner. Sign language interpreters, captioning, different language interpreters. Now Zoom gave us more features, right? So through this program, we are able to reach out to many needy people and trying to guide them. And this pandemic, next slide, please. this pandemic helped me another thing. For a long time, I'm thinking like from the beginning, I told you, creating awareness is the most important thing. So for that, I'm going to different places, giving talks, many things I'm doing. One more thing is leftover. Many people suggested me many times to write my experiences. So this pandemic helped me. Otherwise, I used to travel a lot apart from my work related, office related work. So this pandemic gave me some time because I have not been traveling for almost 1.5 years. So with that time, whatever time I'm able to get, with that I could put down all my life experiences. Now that book is released, Swimming Against the Tide, true story of Paralympic swimmer Madhvi Lata. Sage Publications, they published that one. That is also, I felt so happy because you all know that getting a publisher for a first time writer is a big challenge. But after seeing my story, they told that Madhvi, your story is worth telling. So they accepted and published. Recently, this August month only it's published. So this is what my story, and I would like to hear from you any questions or anything if you want to know from me. Thank you.
It's been a very, very inspiring session. I think we have traced the entire journey of getting to anti-fragility, understood and demystified anti-fragility to the multiple dimensions that it holds. It's been a great learning experience for me, an equally inspiring learning experience for me. And it's my pleasure to ask our illustrious speakers a few questions that our audience, our delegates have posted here. My first question is to you, Smriti, and that's from Aishwarya Lakshmi. Aishwarya asks, in the context of anti-fragility, how can I apply agile leadership to overcome the fear of an unknown future? I think a very relevant question for the times that we're moving through. Over to you, Smriti, for your thoughts on that.
Thank you, Anju, and thank you, Lata. It's been a privilege hearing you. And Aishwarya, I think you're spot on. In this world of so much of chaos, confusion, and ambiguity, it's really critical to kind of understand how do you build that agility muscle, right? If I were to understand your question well, I think first things first is to be able to understand your own strengths and weaknesses before we embark on any journey when it comes to something like this. And I truly believe in exploring your own strengths. For example, there are a lot of things that I can do very well, and there are a lot of things which I know I'm not able to do very well. So having that clarity of thought really helps. However, what the pandemic has taught us is it's okay to be not okay, right? So you can also experiment and continue to learn and unlearn for you to understand how agile you are. What is it that you can take forward and what is it you can't? It's like building your muscle, right? When you are exercising regularly. I mean, I've been a couch potato all my life, but it starts with taking a few steps and then building on to say 6,000 steps or then 10,000 steps and then slowly getting into a 5K or whatever. So same goes for our professional careers as well as our personal journeys, is how do we build that muscle? But for that, you will have to have an open mindset. You will have to experiment. You'll have to fail fast to build that agility in what you do and how you do. And then come up with your formula, which is going to be only your secret sauce of how can you take this forward.
Beautifully put, Smriti. I love the term, I think, agility muscle, right? Because this is again a time we could invest in, and also kind of acknowledging our own vulnerabilities in terms of looking inward. I think it's almost like decluttering our rooms. What do we want to keep? What do we want to take forward? How best do we utilize what we have? So beautiful thoughts there, Smriti. I'm going to get back to you with a few more questions. Ms. Madhvi, your journey has been nothing short of inspiring. thank you for taking us through the entire journey, entire, your hardships, what you've gone through. I have one question for you. And this is on, when was that exact, point in which you realized that there needs to be a mindset change to become anti-fragile, right? And that kind of rewired your mindset. What was those instances, and how did that rewiring happen to become the anti-fragile leader that you are today, Madhvi?
Yeah. So in my story, you might have seen that many times when people told that we can't give admission to you, then we kept quiet and we tried other things, alternatives. Even one job application when I gave, that they didn't even send hall ticket because they don't entertain applications from persons with disabilities. So when we faced such type of problems, we accepted all those things silently. We were trying for alternatives. But later, for my previous job, when I tried, after interview, written test interview, everything is over. And just before giving my appointment letter, at that time, in doctor told that I was unfit for that post medically. So at that time, first time, till that time we were silent and trying for alternatives, because here we came to one stage, yeah, at that time they were telling. So there we tried our level best. We tried all the options where we can represent our case strongly. And then finally they realized their mistake from their side, and finally we got that appointment letter. So that was like a life changing situation for me, because till the time just silently accepting everything, but we can also represent our case and overcome that situation. So that gave me confidence. And you have seen in my story many times many challenges, but I could try to overcome from those challenges, all those challenges.
Brilliant. So I think it's about action, from what I gather. I remember a few years back, when I couldn't actually write as much as I would love to. I love writing. I coined this term called inertia. You remain there, you do not move, and it's a writer's block kind of a thing. I think it's our inertia that we need to shake off in terms of affecting change, in terms of becoming a better person. Smriti, I loved your definition of how robust and anti-fragile are different. In terms of becoming better, and robust is about keeping the same strength. Right. So becoming better versions of ourselves. Thank you so much for your thoughts there, Madhavi. Smriti, I come back to you with another question on, we understood and we had great conversations around how do we become anti-fragile ourselves, but how do we transfer it to the teams that we manage? Because ultimately, I think as inclusive leaders, our passion is to create teams of people who can take on bigger responsibilities, who can manage crisis and VUCA. So how do you pass that on to the team? Your experiences around that, Smriti.
Great question, Anju. And I think we at PEGA have been striving hard to come up with different ways of making sure that our teams are well equipped and are, able to kind of move forward in spite of all the challenges that we've been experiencing in the recent past. I think first things first is to make sure that we are able to make the right understanding of a given situation, right? So I think it's very important that one size doesn't fit all. So we at PEGA are making sure that our managers, our leaders are truly engaged in communicating effectively and listening effectively with respect to what's happening with different parts of the teams and different members of the team. I think it starts with understanding what the needs of an individual, not what a need of a team are. Once you've done that needs assessment, I think equipping them with the right tools, because you and I are as good as our tools. So if we are not going to have the right collaboration tools, if we are not going to have the right spaces, if you're not going to make the right investments in terms of teams coming together and innovating the next best software, I don't think we're going to get to the end goal. So I think we have been very focused in building interventions where we are equipping our teams to not only have these resources, but also train them. and make sure that we are providing them a safe and a secured environment to do that so that they can learn, unlearn, make mistakes, and most importantly, I think share those so that there is a collective learning in the process. One of the examples I could share is how we've transitioned the whole process of learning at Pega, right? We all are in the process of looking at bit and bite sized learning, real time learning. We're done away with classroom sessions where we could probably spend the entire day learning about a particular concept or a skill set. And I think with the changing in the environment and the changing in the business priorities, we're also experiencing that our customers are also as agile as we are. So I think for us to kind of meet up with the expectations, we're also making sure that we come up with learnings which are real time, which are more cohesive, and they bring in a lot of insight in terms of peer feedback, in terms of personal feedback. So if I like something or something, somebody in my team likes something, they can just share, and kind of equip each other in the whole collective learning process.
Excellent, Smriti. I think equipping, empowering, learning, three keywords that I'll never forget in terms of your journey towards empowering your teams to become anti-fragile. Madhavi, Aishwarya has one question for you. So what is that one tip you will recommend to overcome our biases towards differently abled, of being fit for work? So you talked about multiple instances where you were at the receiving end of the bias. What is that one tip?
Only one tip, actually, as you rightly asked, only one tip is interact with them, speak to them. Many times what will happen, people will assume, okay, Madhvi is sitting in a wheelchair, she may not be able to do this. This person is not able to speak, so that person cannot do. So all assumptions, please don't do that. Recently, so many people will ask me how to deal with our differently able staff, or somebody asked recently, can we have one psychiatrist or psychologist to speak with persons with disability? Really, I got laugh for that question, because if we need to if we need any psychologist or psychiatrist to speak to other people, then tomorrow even to speak to our servant maid, we will be required one psychiatrist to know what is that mood of that person, how to speak to that person. So that is why I told one simple tip: you need not spend any amount, you need not bring any external advisors or consultants, nothing is required. Just you speak to that person. And please don't generalize, because people are sitting in wheelchair, everybody will be same. No, in this world, everybody is unique. So yeah, please speak to that person. Try to understand from that person how to address you, whether you need any support. Whatever you want, you ask that person only. Don't ask other people. So this
Beautiful,
is the only one tip.
I think it's the power of interaction. So we have another expansion for Power of I now. Thank you so much, dear speakers. It's been a pleasure listening to both of you. It's been a great learning experience, as I talked about earlier. I'm hoping everybody is enjoying the conference. We still have some very exciting sessions lined up for you. Thank you so much.